The largest haul of cocaine found in South Asia discovered in Colombo. Who is responsible for importing 800 kilograms of cocaine? Strike action at the Hambantota port continues. Services of two ships disrupted.
මලික් සමරික්‍රම අමතුමයි සරත් අමනුගම අමතුමයි තමයි මේ පත්‍රිකාව කැබිනට් උටත් එවලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් රජයක් හැටියට මම තාමත් හදනවා වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් ගන්න.
Ranil Wickremesinghe and Mahinda Rajapaksa meet in Parliament. Invitation extended to the opposition leader as well.
බදුකර වංචාව වහගන්න මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? හම්බන්තොට වරාය විකුණන තීරණය කළා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ප්‍රාඩෝ කර දෙනු වහගන්න ගුවන්තොටුපළ විකුණන තීරණය කළා.
South Korean President Park Geun-hye impeached for colluding with a friend.
Hello there, very good evening to you. You are watching Prime Time News on News First. I'm Chaturanga Hapuarati.
And I'm Aishwarya Pinto. Let's start off with a look at your stories in detail. The largest haul of cocaine discovered in South Asia was found aboard a ship anchored at the Colombo port today. Police revealed that the market value of the stock of cocaine, weighing nearly 800 kilograms, is 12 billion rupees.
The stock of cocaine was discovered in an inspection carried out by the Police Narcotics Bureau aboard the container ship MSC Fabiola, which was anchored at the Colombo port. The vessel is registered in Portugal. Police said that the cocaine was found concealed in two containers carrying timber. The vessel set sail from Ecuador on the 2nd of October and was bound for Mundra port in India after sailing through Belgium. Police said that the ship had unloaded two containers in Belgium and then set sail for Saudi Arabia after taking on another container. On the 1st of December, MSC Fabiola set sail from Saudi Arabia bound to Colombo. Police said that they detained and inspected the ship based on information they received, based on an order received from the Colombo Chief Magistrate.
We discovered this haul of cocaine weighing 800 kilograms that was concealed in containers carrying stocks of teak timber. 3 containers, including the container we raided, had been ordered by the Bharat Timber Company in India. This company is registered in New Delhi. Investigations are continuing in this regard. We are also continuing investigations with regard to the local representative who handled this ship and its cargo. If anyone has aided in the importation of these drugs, we will take steps to arrest all those responsible. These containers were not destined to be unloaded in Sri Lanka. The ship arrived last night and it was different containers that needed to be unloaded. These containers were to be unloaded in India.
Large hauls of cocaine were discovered in the island on a number of prior occasions. 220 kilograms of cocaine discovered aboard a ship carrying sugar that departed Brazil and sailed through Portugal. 31 kilograms of cocaine discovered from a container yard in Pethiagoda, Kelania. Stock of cocaine valued at over 4 billion rupees found in a container yard in Palyagoda. 25 kilograms of cocaine found aboard a ship carrying sugar that arrived in Sri Lanka from Brazil. The expenditure heads of the Ministry of Telecommunication and Digital Infrastructure Facilities were debated in Parliament today. Cabinet ministers declared open Wi-Fi zones across the country in a grand manner. But do the youth in the country go to those places and access Wi-Fi? Leave aside the Wi-Fi, the situation is such that taxes have been imposed where they cannot even make phone calls or send text messages like they used to. In the previous budget, you mentioned about 200 smart digital classrooms for 2016 and another 1,000 for 2017. Books are not required for smart digital classrooms. You said the generation that would learn with computers will be created. What you have given them is the dream of a tab. Teachers and students don't have proper sanitation facilities and you are selling them this dream. Is this how you expect to proceed?
Sanitation facilities are being provided. Most of those tasks are complete. One is being made for every 50 children. We need to move forward with new technology. Do not envy the tab.
We are not jealous of giving the tab, but do not grant tabs to persons aimed at the next elections. The people will question what the Minister of Digital Infrastructure has done. The only thing that the people remember are the 2 balloons that were released. Those 2 also crashed. It is like the Supreme Sat of Rohit Rajapaksa that was sent to space in the past and there is no trace of that. But the 2 balloons were later found.
Although you speak ill of Microsoft and Google, Google came here without wasting a cent of government money. They came here based on trust. I accept that in 2016 we only managed to build the field. I believe that by 2017 the ministry will be able to steer the course into one where many employment opportunities will be created.
The strike action by the employees of the Hambantota port entered day 3 today. The Satyagraha campaign launched last afternoon is also continuing.
These employees say that their employment is at risk as there is an attempt to hand over the Hambantota port to a Chinese company in a manner that would not benefit the country. They request to be assigned to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. Employees of all departments at the Hambantota port are engaged in this strike action. As a result of this, 2 vessels with vehicles and construction material remain anchored at port, unable to obtain services from the port. An attempt was made to deploy the Sri Lanka Navy to the port in order to provide required services and release the vessels. Those attempts proved to be futile as the port employees refused to cooperate. Port employees thereafter deployed smaller vessels that obstructed the path of 2 large vessels. Police who arrived this afternoon called on the employees to release the 2 ships. Meanwhile, our correspondent noted that 2 other ships have been anchored in deep sea. 4 employees expressed their support to the Satyagraha campaign at the entrance of the harbour by climbing onto the 14th floor of the administrative complex. Those engaged in the trade union action took over the fire trucks and water bowsers at the port and moved them to the entrance of the port. The JVP expressed their support to this strike action as well. Who recruited them? Was it during Namal's time? Was it during the current minister's tenure? It is pointless talking about if Rohita, who was the then minister. The people here work for wages. We will fight for those people.
Issuing a communique, the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade noted that an MOU was signed between the Sri Lankan government and the China Merchant Port Holdings Company last night on the Magam Ruhnupura port. What I say is that if it is impossible to buy 51% of the 100%, we should do it. The letter we sent on behalf of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority was not the letter which was sent by the Secretary's Committee to the Chinese company. I was not the one who made the final decision. There is a committee of secretaries for that. Our secretary was among them. A committee of 3 secretaries was appointed. I will not agree to that because I think that a large amount is necessary for us. Malik Samara Wickrama and Sarath Amanugama are the ones who forwarded the letter to the cabinet. As part of the government, I am still in efforts to buy a larger share. The Hambantota port has been given for 99 years for a sum of $1.12 billion. Who makes the decisions for the government? Plans are set and agreements have been signed to sell the Hambantota port for $1.1 billion after it finished with $450 million in the first phase. In our books, it is recorded as $1,347 million. That means that Namal Rajapaksa is unaware of the amount close to 1,000 million. I would like to ask the President and the Prime Minister, where has this amount close to 1,000 million gone? The whole country is aware of what good governance is. It's still young and the bond scam took place. The country suffered a loss of 145 billion. In order to cover up their wrongs, they are selling off the resources day by day. In order to cover up the bond scam, they are selling off the Hambantota port. In order to cover up the Prado deal, they are selling off the airport. This group has also decided to sell off the resources in the country.
Malik Samara Wickrama and Priyat Bandhu was sent to China for discussions.
The Prime Minister must be questioned on that. He did not inform us of that visit. Following the media briefing, Namal Rajapaksa visited the Hambantota port, where he received the following welcome from the port employees.
Meanwhile, the issue surrounding the Magampura port was discussed in Parliament today.
The movement of trade and goods have come to a complete standstill. Will you intervene and grant the request of the workers? His Excellency the President went to China and took steps to create a number of factories after giving 15,000 acres on long-term lease in the Hambantota area.
හම්බන්තොට ප්‍රදේශයේ පොඩ්ඩක් අහගෙන ඉන්න මේ කුවකයෝ
Please listen. These hypocrites, when the President and the Prime Minister are trying to provide jobs, what are the leaders of those people saying? They say that the people of Hambantota are against this. You must be ashamed.
නායකයෝ මොකද්ද කියලා කියන්නේ හම්බන්තොට ඉන්න මිනිස්සු හම්බන්තොට ඉන්න අය මේකට විරුද්ධයි කියලා. ලැජ්ජා වෙන්න ඕන. ලැජ්ජා වෙන්න ඕන.
Today marks International Anti-Corruption Day. The National Anti-Corruption Summit was held in Colombo today under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena.
A number of ministers and public representatives were present at the event. The summit was organized by the Ministry of Law and Order and Southern Development in collaboration with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption.
When you take a look at the state level, nearly 50% of the tender process is corrupt. The technical evaluation committees are corrupt. The specialists who are heading these committees represent companies that they have connections to the relevant industries. The same corruption levels can be seen in the tender boards that were appointed by the cabinet. According to the law, the minister cannot take part in the tender process. Most of the time when allegations are raised against a certain minister with regard to the tenders, no one speaks of the bad situation at these technical evaluation committees.
A panel discussion moderated by the chairman of the Elections Commission was also held at the event on the theme corruption that takes place due to campaign expenses.
There is a saying in Tamil. This closely translates to, even dead bodies will open their mouths if they see money. A lot of matters pertaining to politics in the country is carried out with money. When I contested for my first election back in 1989, I did not even spend 100,000 rupees. But if you take a look at the amount I spent for the last parliamentary election that I contested in 2010, I will have to answer as to how I spent it and how I earned it. I should tell the truth. I will very clearly say that the culprit is the election process and not the candidates. Instead of the district system that is prevailing at present, if a first past the post system or a representative who is responsible for his area is appointed, there will be a massive change. I believe that there is a need for a first past the post system. After 2000 years, who is the only leader who has worked against corruption? I know only one, the late Bandaranayaka. He sent 2 or 3 members of his own cabinet home. I asked the president to make a list of all those who have been indicted by court after independence.
An
oath was taken to establish a disciplined country while rejecting corruption and bribery.
The International Anti-Corruption Day is marked in the country today amid allegations that the country was robbed of billions of rupees through the central bank bond transactions.
Allegations were levelled during the recent past that the country suffered serious losses through the issuing of bonds by the central bank on the 27th of February 2015 and on the 29th of March 2016. Revelations on the bond issuance were also made through the reports compiled by a 3-member committee of legal experts appointed by the Prime Minister, the Committee on Public Enterprise and an internal investigation report by the central bank. Despite reports on the bond issue piling up at the cost of the taxpayers' rupees, any firm action against those accountable for the alleged malpractices are yet to take shape.
The former governor of the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran, is directly involved in the ambiguous bond issue in question, and it is recommended that legal action be filed against him and other relevant officials of the central bank.
Weeks after the COPE report was issued, the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka said that he had taken action against the institutions involved in the questionable bond transaction.
The internal review was discussed at the Monetary Board and action was taken with regard to the issue on the 7th of November. Action was also taken last Friday. But for now, I can't speak on the matter as there are some legal issues. We also need to consider the sensitivity of the markets. Therefore, I cannot speak of those now. But with time, everything will be revealed.
What is the progress on the investigations into the bond transaction?
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa met at the parliamentary complex today.
A communique issued by the Prime Minister's office says that the meeting was to discuss the constitutional reform process. In addition to the former president, opposition leader R. Sambandhan, parliamentarians Dinesh Gunawardena, Bandula Gunawardena, Vidura Wickramanayake, Lohan Ratwatta and Shehan Semasinghe were also present at the meeting.
Earlier this week, you made a rather controversial statement in Parliament, saying that certain VVIP prisoners are entitled to preferential treatment and that they are entitled to mosquito nets, beds, all of that.
Yeah.
However, responding to this, yesterday the prison's spokesperson, media spokesperson, denied this, saying that the allegations you make are baseless. How do you respond to this? You've been called a liar.
He can't say that. It's not baseless. I have spoken in the parliament 2 days ago based on all the proofs and documents, including VVIP medical reports, treatments they've received. So he can't say that. If he's saying that, then that means like he's actually digging his own grave, I think.
So are you saying that he is lying?
Definitely.
And yesterday we saw you go to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption and file a complaint there. What did you expect from this?
Because all these documents are about certain doctors. I have proofs of them transferring money from prisoners. So these are I only made a complaint over there, but I have all the documents. I'm not going to provide them yet because all I'm asking is either transfer these doctors from the prison hospital or terminate their service for a short term. Then these investigations can be started. So the doctors who are under them and especially jailers, they won't be able to actually give evidence. So that's the problem.
After the statement you made in Parliament, there has been a massive backlash with a lot of parliamentarians and other sectors of society criticizing you. Seems like you're all on your own.
A small portion of people are actually attacking me, that because I think that as you said earlier, from a long time they haven't heard this kind of a speech in the parliament, especially from a woman parliamentarian. So basically when I made this speech, I mentioned few health conditions about few people, like certain people. So I think the people who are actually attacking me are the same people. I don't think I'm all alone. From the calls I've received for last couple of days and the messages I've received, I'm sure I can surely tell you that the public is with me.
Hirunika, you're making a clamour in Parliament, in other speeches that you make. What are you expecting as a result of this?
I hope that because in the Parliament my last few words were on the day I made the speech were that I plead from the President and the Prime Minister and the Prison Minister and the Health Minister to ensure that these responsible authorities will carry out this investigation. So that's all I want, and I really hope that will happen and the justice will prevail.
For an extended interview with MP Hirunika Premachandra, log on to our Facebook page Newsfirst.lk.
The increasing prices of rice was debated in Parliament today.
By now, for the Maha season, not even 20% of lands have been farmed. Therefore, an increase in the market price of rice cannot be evaded unless large stocks of rice are imported from overseas. We know that the middlemen are attempting to purport a shortage of rice in the market. If the traders don't reduce the price of Nadu rice, especially during the festive season, we will import 5,000 or 10,000 metric tons of rice and provide rice for a price between 50 and 60 rupees. The people of this country created the Yahpalane government to sell their stocks of paddy at the certified price of 50 rupees. However, the certified prices were initially reduced to 38 rupees. Even then, they were unable to implement a proper mechanism to purchase paddy during the correct time frame. When the Paddy Marketing Board was purchasing paddy this time, there were no longer waiting lines. The Paddy Marketing Board didn't even receive 25,000 metric tons of paddy. The Paddy Marketing Board didn't receive large stocks of paddy because they didn't act when the harvest was being reaped. As a result of the government not paying any attention to the agriculture sector, the Paddy Marketing Board under your ministry was not able to purchase the paddy. That is not your fault. It is the fault of the weak policy adopted by the government towards agriculture.
Welcome back. You are with News First. Another project was inaugurated under the phase 2 of the Gum at the 100 Days movement today.
බොන වතුර තමා මේ තියෙන්නේ තේවලට උණු කරනකොට එහෙම සිමෙන්ති බඳිනවා.
For almost 2 decades, the people of the Tabova village in Puthalam did not have the privilege of consuming clean drinking water. Newsfirst has decided to respond immediately to solve these issues in a bid to bring relief to the people.
ලක්ෂ 20ක මුදලක් මේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය සඳහා වැය වෙනවා.
2 million rupees is being spent on this project, and it is the responsibility of all to ensure that it is protected and developed.
රාජකාරිය වගකීම.
එතුමල්ලා මාධ්‍ය ආයතනයක් හැටියට
As a media institution, you are making observations in all villages, identifying the most serious issues and providing solutions to them.
ඒවල් ඒ ව්‍යාපෘතින් තෝරාගෙන ඒවට පිළියම් යොදනවා.
A tube well to obtain water and a reverse osmosis plant will be established in the village with the assistance of Brandex Lanka Limited.
මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා අපි බිව්වේ නම් සිමෙන්ති තිබිච්ච වතුර
වකුගඩු අමාරු නොඑක් අමාරු හැදිලා වෙලා සමහර අය ජීවිතක්ෂයටපත් වුණා.
මේ ගොඩාක් සතුටෙන් තමයි බලාගෙන ඉන්නේ අපිට වතුර ටික එනකන් කාලාන්තරයක් බලාගෙන හීනයක් තමයි අද අපිට ඉෂ්ට වුනේ.
Phase 2 of the Gum at the movement to bring relief to the people will continue to forge ahead.
The first phase of a rural development program aimed at uplifting and empowering the people in the north who were affected by the conflict concluded recently.
An event was organized to mark the conclusion of the first phase of the development program organized by the Ministry of Rehabilitation, Resettlement and Hindu Religious Affairs and the Upper Lanka project.
There are many projects that we can do. We had to educate the children of what will be their future. Because 30 years ago, the generation was quite different. So in the same way, the people also will have to change. Their way of life has to change. We have to modernize them. They have to live within an environment which can be practical. And so necessary steps have been taken by the government of Sri Lanka, especially under the guidance of His Excellency the President and the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, to see that the northern province becomes a province to live on.
Empowerment has many facets. Basically, social empowerment, the political empowerment, financial and livelihood empowerment need to be done. That of course the Defence Ministry or the militaries can't do it alone, but we need the support of the non-governmental organization, the private sector, initiatives like this, to work together with the government hand in hand to provide better living for the people living in that area.
11th International Research Conference on Management and Finance, hosted by the Faculty of Management and Finance at the University of Colombo, commenced in Colombo today.
This year's conference will feature an industry dialogue on academic papers spanning through a wide range of management topics. The event was graced by a distinguished gathering including the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Lakshman Dissanayake, and Senior Journalist Jayashree Ranga.
So we now in the University of Colombo are going to put up a center which will be named as Research Development Center. Got the green light from the Senate as well. So this center will provide a platform for the researchers to get some assistance from those who can help you to convert your research into high quality research papers, which will be published in peer review or index journals. So that will improve the quality of university education, and also that will enhance the status or the ranking of our universities.
Professor Charles Akhodia of the Griffith University, Australia, delivered the keynote address. Participants from a wide range of spheres were present for the event.
And that's a wrap of the Primetime News. I'm Aishwarya Pinto.
I'm Chaturanga Hapwarachi. Have a great weekend ahead of you.